हेलो एवरीवन, गुड आफ्टरनून, गुड इवनिंग ऑल। कैसे हैं सब लोग? मेरा नाम है अरविंद
नमस्ते एवरीवन। यहाँ पे सौरभ। होप एवरीवन डूइंग वेल।
और हम हैं हैदराबाद बॉयज, वी टॉक ऑल थिंग्स क्रिकेट। um सो
श्योर,
सौरभ,
यस।
अभी हमने सारा स्टैट्स देख लिया, सब बैटिंग बॉलिंग फील्डिंग पूरे टीम का, फ्रॉम एन इम्पैक्ट पॉइंट ऑफ एंड ऑल दैट। तो मुझे लगा कि लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द टीम ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट, एंड आई थिंक यहाँ पे काफी कुछ है बोलने के लिए। सो हाउ डू यू वांट टू डू दिस? डू वी टेल आवर टीम्स? हाउ डू यू वांट टू टेक दिस फॉरवर्ड?
या आई थिंक यू टेल योर टीम, या फिर द अदर वे ऑफ पॉसिबली डूइंग इट इज पोजीशन बाय पोजीशन वी
या ओके,
टॉक कि भाई आपका नंबर वन कौन है, मेरा नंबर वन कौन है, एंड देन वी टॉक अबाउट द कंटेंडर्स एंड व्हाई दे काइंड ऑफ मिस्ड आउट। आई थिंक दैट पॉसिबली वुड बी अ गुड फॉर्मेट।
that
तो आई
possibly would
मीन
be a good one.
ओपनर्स के
Okay,
बारे में बात
yeah.
करते हैं।
Yeah, so this is our World Cup of the team. So for people who are listening in, we're going to segment it by openers, and then we'll talk about batsmen. Then we'll talk about lower middle order, wicketkeeper, whatever, and then we'll talk finally the bowlers. So that will be the
Yeah.
order of the play there. तो सबसे पहले बात करते हैं openers की. So we had following contenders in the list, which is Rohit Sharma, David Warner, Travis Head, Rachin Ravindra, and Quinton de Kock. Saurabh, what was your selection?
My selection was Travis Head and Rohit Sharma. Travis Head, अगर आप देखेंगे conventionally, certain statistics he may not feature. जैसे हमने देखा, I think he was only featuring in the centuries के list में,
Centuries.
and he was also, और वो भी last में. So first is कि उन्होंने ज़्यादा matches नहीं खेले. He didn't play all the number of matches. The only reason he's in my list is because of the impact that he's created in the short stint that he was in the World Cup. 6 matches, 3 stunning performances, which led to Australia victory. A good 50% conversion rate as far as match winning performances are concerned. So it was a no-brainer for me. So Travis Head for me was a no-brainer. And second, Rohit Sharma. This was slightly tough, considering you had Rachin Ravindra, you had Quinton de Kock, जिन्होंने 4 centuries मारी, which is quite a feat by itself. I just went by Rohit Sharma because of the impact and the way
Okay,
he played throughout the World Cup without changing his approach. Loved it, and that's the reason he's in this squad.
cool. So my take was, I have my openers in the tournament, team of the tournament for me was Travis Head and Quinton de Kock. And I'll tell you why for me. Travis Head, it's a no-brainer, as you rightly said. He is the reason Australia has won the World Cup in the semi-final. He's taken the 2 wickets. He scored the century. He scored the 60 runs odd. But then he also scored a century when he came back the first match after he came back from his from Australia, and then he scored the all important century in the final, and also the taken the all important wicket in the catch in the final. Clearly, the best, the day he's come, Australia ka fortunes changed. Australia's batting impact completely changed. So Travis was the one. This was the hardest choice I had to make. I mean, there was no option for me to do this. I wanted Rohit Sharma. I really wanted Rohit Sharma, but I felt Quinton de Kock's impact to that South African lineup is the reason why South Africa was in semi-final. अगर उन्होंने वो starting में games नहीं खेले होते, अगर if he hadn't scored those runs, South Africa would not have been in the final. We could have seen either Pakistan actually making it through. It could have been a completely different nightmare scenario there. Um, I know Rohit Sharma scored the second highest runs. He had the most number of sixes. He had the most impact on the Indian team. I just felt Quinton de Kock was was the most standout player I could see outside the Indian, coming to Indian subcontinent conditions, and last World Cup and all of that. I wanted to put both. I could not, and I had to pick one, and I picked Quinton de Kock, who will also be the wicketkeeper in my team.
Sure. Not a bad
Let's
choice.
look at number three. So number three, we had a couple of options. We had Mitchell Marsh, who also opened, but who also came to number three once Travis had became opener once he was back. Virat Kohli, enough said, the king. Rassie van der Dussen, the South African star, who scored so much runs and gave them that impetus. If once Bavuma or someone else got out, and then finally the New Zealand superstar Rachin Ravindra, breakout star of the tournament, hands down the young player of the tournament, you can say, but who also was an opener, but put him in the number 3 because you had, I think, Kane Williamson bhi aa gaye the, and then you could rotate it. So Rachin Ravindra actually was kind of the floater there, but I considered him again in number 3. So who's your choice for number 3 there?
Let's close your eyes and
yeah,
you know who it is. It's Virat Kohli. I think you just
Virat
got to go
Kohli,
with
yeah.
him. 700 odd runs, unheard of, first time in the World Cup.
Yeah.
The only closest that anyone got to 700 was Sachin Tendulkar, 673 runs, which he possibly could have got. He could have scored few runs in the finals, which he couldn't in 2003 World Cup.
Yep.
So
20 years ago.
It had to be Kohli.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he was the reason why India made it to the finals. And you rightly said Rohit Sharma gave the start, but Kohli led it from the front. I think his average was close to 100 until that last game. 90s methods. Hands down the best player for India. I mean, as you rightly said, all the parallels to 2003 World Cup in terms of the impact from a batting standpoint, shades of Tendulkar there. Tendulkar, highest score in 2003, won the World Player of the Tournament. 2023, highest score in the tournament, 3 centuries, player of the tournament. Hands down the best number 3 India has ever had in this World Cup. And in terms of the setup of the World Cup. So nothing much. I mean, the name is enough, Virat Kohli. So number 4. So number 4, maybe we had 3 options or 3 contenders. We had Daryl Mitchell, who has been one of the stars of the New Zealand's foray into semi-finals. Shreyas Iyer, India's number 4, who had a very, very good tournament, who basically has emerged after his injury. Laga nahi tha ki he would be able to come back. Came back absolutely brilliantly. And Aiden Markram, the South African player who ensured South Africa gets into the semi-finals after the run rate, after the scoring, after Quinton de Kock scoring, he would ensure, they would go through further and score big. Had a great tournament again. So who was your number 3? Who was your number 4?
This was slightly difficult for me. And I know the choice that you have made. I possibly would have gone with him as well, given a choice. I just chose Daryl Mitchell. Scored good amount of runs. Scored good runs against the best attack, possibly the best attack. You can always dispute that in the tournament against India. So I just got to go with him. So a fantastic player. I think आपने इस tournament के बारे में बात किया. Daryl Mitchell possibly is one of the standout players in the last 2 to 3 years, irrespective of the format. Has played very well in the test matches, and he has done well in the World Cup as well. So for me, it was Daryl Mitchell. Slight, थोड़ा सा मेरे लिए even though Shreyas Iyer और Aiden Markram की performances देखें, they haven't been bad. They've been on par with Daryl Mitchell, but I just chose Daryl Mitchell just because of the number of runs that he basically scored with India.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. However, my choice was a little different. I actually chose Rachin Ravindra and number 4. Rachin Ravindra was in my contenders for opener and number 3. However, I could not accommodate him, but I felt he was the star performer for New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand's entry into the finals was because of Rachin Ravindra, his performance at the start and the middle of the tournament, and then obviously Daryl Mitchell took it at the end. So obviously it's not your conventional top 4. In my team, Rachin. In my team of the tournament, Rachin would be number 3, number 4. Virat Kohli could be number 4. It really doesn't matter for me. But I had to get Rachin in that team of the tournament, and Rachin also balls, so he is also a handy bowling option in that team for me.
Yeah, not a bad
go to the number 5 position. So यहाँ पे हमारे पास 3 option थे. We had KL Rahul, Heinrich Klaasen, and then Azmatullah Omarzai, who has had a fantastic tournament for Afghanistan. I know, Ibrahim Zadran had a great tournament. Ramacha had a good tournament, but Azmatullah Omarzai really arrived. And then you had Ramat Gurpaz as well. So, I mean, we knew those were good players. Omar Zai had at his position, at the position number 5. I think he had a very, very good good tournament in terms of this thing. So who's your choice?
I think बहुत लोगों की choice KL Rahul होंगे. He had a very good tournament, barring the glitch that he had in the finals, where he scored pretty slowly. I've chosen Klaasen just because of the impact. Although I felt, by the end of semifinals, he's kind of underperformed, um, just with the kind of reputation that he was coming with, right, at the start of the World Cup. He scored good number of runs. He could have scored more. Um, Given he's also a wicket keeper, quite a decent wicket keeper, and I'll actually choose Klaasen over KL Rahul on the wicket keeping skills. So just purely in the impact and the way he plays spinners, which is kind of required in the middle part of the innings, chosen Klaasen.
Okay. Again, I went a little differently. I didn't pick any of those contenders. I actually went back to the previous positions contenders. I put Daryl Mitchell here at number 4. At number 5, I know Daryl Mitchell is the number 4 in the real life, but I think Daryl Mitchell, between Daryl Mitchell, Rachin Ravindra, they can be very under that. And whatever you said about Daryl Mitchell was spot on for me. I had to have him in the team, and so and he also gives a good bowling option for me in that option. All right, now let's coming to the position number 6. We have two options there. We have Glenn Maxwell and then David Miller.
I mean, it was. I love Miller. Miller की एक innings बहुत ही जबरदस्त थी. I think one of the best innings that he possibly played as an entire ODI. What do you call that? पूरा उनका करियर का ODI करियर का सबसे अच्छी सेंचुरी उन्हें मारी सेमीफाइनल्स में, लेकिन that wasn't enough for me. I think Glenn Maxwell has defined this World Cup in terms of 2 fantastic innings. One of the stories, right? अगर आप World Cup की story लिखेंगे 2023 की, it's gonna be Shami, it's gonna be Rachin Ravindra, and it has to be Glenn Maxwell as well.
Yep.
विराट कोहली भी होंगे उसमें, लेकिन Maxwell की especially जो अफगानिस्तान वाली पारी and the way he bowled. I mean, there were instances where he actually outperformed Zampa in the spinning department. Yes. So amazing performance by Maxwell. I think 201 would be remembered for a long time. I didn't watch the Viv Richards innings versus England. When he batted with Michael Holding, where he scored 189. But I did watch this one. It was a pure privilege.
And it. I think, I mean, I heard this report, some in the comments as well. We all did not grow up with Kapil Dev's 175, और वो telecast में नहीं हुआ था. People only saw that in that 83 movie. But this was the real life, that 175 version for the World Cup history. And same thing, like 17 for 5, 91 for 7. The parallels were uncanny there. So I also chose Maxwell, but I chose Maxwell in number 7 because I put Heinrich Klaasen here. अब देख रहे होंगे मेरे टीम में, आपका number 6 was my number 7. Sorry, आपका number 5 was my number 6. Primarily because I wanted to accommodate Rachin Ravindra in that team. So you had Klaasen as number 5, I had Klaasen as number 6. So I chose Klaasen as number 6 here. And then Maxwell was my number 7.
Cool.
So yeah, let's go to number 7. Mine was Glenn Maxwell. So I mean, I have nothing else to add to it, or what you said about Maxwell was spot on. I wanted him in the team of tournament, and I have him as number 7. But we actually had 2 proper number 7s, which is Ravindra Jadeja and Marco Jansen, who were the 2 of the best all-rounders in that number 7 spot for won the World Cup. So who was your pick, Saurav?
Jansen, I went with Jansen quite skeptically. लास्ट 2 मैचेस यानसन के बहुत ही खराब रहे थे. इनफैक्ट इंडिया के साथ उन्होंने अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस नहीं दी थी. But I was expecting he'll do well given his height, and Indians sometimes struggle with these kind of bowlers likes of Kyle Jamieson. Marco Jansen actually did well versus India in South Africa. I know different pitch, लेकिन I thought he would do well versus India. और उनका semi-final match was very, very bad, considering South Africa needed him to, if not pick wickets, but at least keep a bolt on runs, which he couldn't. Again, barring these 2 performances, the way he batted against England, which kind of stands out. And I think there were a couple of other innings as well where he scored 20 odd runs. Has a fantastic future. I hope South Africa invests in him. When I say invests in him, but I don't know if he's going to play PSL. Wasim Akram के साथ ये time spend करते हैं कि नहीं करते हैं. Likes of Mitchell Johnson के साथ अगर इनकी कोई थोड़ा सा कुछ mentoring training हो जाए, I think he will do fantastically well for South Africa in future. South Africa has found a couple of good gems. I think
he's one of the
Marco
finds of the
Jensen,
tournament.
one of the finds. Marco Jensen or Gerald Coetzee, Maharaj ने भी अच्छी bowling की थी, but yeah, for me in number seven, right? Yeah, for me in number 7 he was the one that I had to pick. Jadeja, मुझे उनकी batting मुझे लग रहा था कि has taken a little bit of back step as far as this tournament is concerned.
Yeah, still had a good bowling though, 16 wickets, but I completely get it. I already told mine was Maxwell because
Maxwell.
I accommodated Rachin at number 4, so Maxwell ended up being number 7 there for me. All right, the next is all bowlers. So basically, I'll list out all the bowlers. I mean, there's no particular order here. 8, 9, 10, 11. जो भी बोलना है बोल सकते हैं. मतलब 4 bowlers का spot है. But there are many options here. So I mean, I'll read out the contenders who are in that list for the short list. You had obviously Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, Adam Zampa, Dilshan Madhushanka, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Mitchell Stark, Mitchell Santner, Gerald Coetzee, Josh Hazelwood, Keshav Maharaj, and Kuldeep Yadav. So, Saurav, who were your 4 bowlers?
So I'll still maintain this, sanctity of the batting order. So Mitchell Santner को मैं number 8 पे रखूंगा.
Okay.
Batting अच्छी करते हैं and he's bowled fantastically in this World Cup. All the matches where, let's say, New Zealand went for runs, he was possibly the only one who kind of stood out. Amazing. I mean, he bowled fantastically well in this tournament. Mohammad Shami, मेरे लिए या किसी के लिए भी, he walks into this team. I think जैसे विराट कोहली हुए, Travis Head हुए, Mohammad Shami, he would walk into this, tournament's, best 11 that if you pick for 2023 World Cup. For Adam Zampa, the man which I believe, I think majority of the Australian cricket fans would believe, was one of the pivotal reasons behind Australia coming back into the tournament after a couple of early setbacks in the World Cup. Again, proven, tested performer. At least till semi-finals. I know unka semi-finals utna acha nahi gaya tha, lekin finals he did relatively well versus India. So good performance by Adam Zampa. Again, I think he was second highest wicket taker in the World Cup after Shami. So purely deserves to be in the final 11. There were a lot of contenders. For me, it was a battle between Coetzee, Jasprit Bumrah, Madhushanka. That's pretty much it. I think it was a battle between these 3. Yeah. So Coetzee for me, just basically because of his aggression, the way he bowled, the way he did give up in the semi-finals, the spell he bowled against Steve Smith. So I think a fantastic future for South Africa. I think Marco Jansen and Gerald Coetzee is going to be holding the fort for South Africa as far as South African cricket future is concerned. So I just had to pick Coetzee just because young, first ever World Cup. So just went with Coetzee. Again, I didn't choose Bumrah. मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि बुमराह ने अच्छी बॉलिंग नहीं की है, लेकिन बुमराह मैं ऑफलाइन बात कर रहा था अरविंद से. He's kind of set. You can always pick Bumrah here, but I went with Coetzee.
Okay. All right. So my bowlers were again easy options here. Mohammad Shami, the best in the tournament. I picked Jasprit Bumrah because ideal. He restricted India. He brought India into the winning positions. Whenever he had to do, and he was one of the important wicket takers. Kind of sets up the whole Indian base attack. Works very well with Shiraj
Base attack, true.
Everything. So I mean, no brainer there for me. Adam Zampa, without which Australia would not have entered the semi-finals at all. जब उन्होंने 0 विकेट्स लिए, ऑस्ट्रेलिया वो गेम हार चुका था, like beat with India first game, Chennai. But when he picked up the wickets after the third game, after the second game, Australia's fortunes changed, and obviously, he led the bowling from the front, and he was a chief wicket taker when Australia was unconvincingly playing in the first half of the tournament. He was their
First half of
mainstay.
the he was
Um,
the mainstay.
yeah, and I picked the last one, the third seamer. It was between Gerald Coetzee and and I picked this player, Dilshan Madhushanka. Simply एक reason. Sri Lanka had probably got whacked pretty much by all teams. They probably had a very poor bowling attack. So he had no support from one end, so they would leak the runs. He was probably the only reason Sri Lanka actually were able to pick up the wickets. Um, and I still think his spell against India, I think was fantastic.
Very good.
Probably one of
I
the
think
most
one reason,
moments of the tournament, in my opinion, in terms of teams who did not qualify but had put up a great show as an individual performer.
And against Rohit Sharma, I mean, who was playing
Against
so
Rohit
well,
Sharma,
right? And I
who was
think,
playing so
and
well.
even though I didn't pick Madhushanka and I gave my own reasons, but I think one good reason to pick Madhushanka would be, if you just look at, the team that I have chosen and the team that you have, I think you need a variety. So Shami or Bumrah, right arm fast bowlers. Madhushanka brings in that variety because he's a left arm seamer and he has that ability to bring the ball. And he has an ability of bringing the ball in. The dismissal of Rohit Sharma was a classic one, right? He put the ball in and Rohit Sharma was pulled out. So good choice.
I'll just I'll just summarize this team for audience because I know we talked all in one position. But so the team really is. I'll start with my team and then I'll mention some honorable mentions who missed out in my side. So my openers are Travis Head and Quinton de Kock. And my batting lineup then continues with Virat Kohli, Rachin Ravindra, and Daryl Mitchell. My the onslaughts ending machines are Heinrich Klaasen and Glenn Maxwell. So this is my top 7 batting. Bowling, maybe like an Indian team, I go with my bowling starts at number 8. So my pacers are Shami, Bumrah, and Madhushanka, and my spinner is Adam Zampa. So the way this team works is these 4 will be bowling, and then the 5th bowler would be combination of Glenn Maxwell, Rachin Ravindra, and Daryl Mitchell, who all have done very well as all rounders. People who missed out had to miss out. I mean, I can't. I mean, I wish I could put 12, 13, 14, 15 players. Rohit Sharma, I really, really, really wanted him in my team. It had to be him or Quinton de Kock, and Quinton de Kock, wicket keeping bhi aa gaya tha. I just felt, Rohit Sharma unfortunately missed out on this. David Warner, Mitchell Marsh, and I just realized I only put 14 players. If I had to put the team of 15, my 15th player would have been Gerald Coetzee. That would have been my top, my 15. So, Saurav, can summarize your team.
Yeah. So the only difference that in your team and my team is you don't have Rohit. I have Rohit. You don't have Coetzee. I have Coetzee, and I think there's another one that you don't have, Janssen. But if you just look at the overall squad, Travis Head and Rohit Sharma, swashbuckling openers, stabilized by Mr. Virat Kohli, the ever-dependent Virat Kohli. Darren Mitchell, possibly the best batter in the last 2 to 3 years of the whole cricket, irrespective of the format. And then the Heinrich Klaasen, possibly the best player of the spinner in the world right now. Then Mr. Maxi, I don't have to talk about him. Then Marco Janssen, the left arm seamer. Okay, I have the left arm seamer that I was talking about, but I think I get the Madhushanka angle. He can swing the ball, which Marco Janssen
actually
kind
good
of
teams.
with.
Yeah.
So Marco Janssen, and then you have the ever reliable Mitchell Santner, who can spin. Who can spin the ball and he can bat as well, and a fantastic fielder. I think possibly after the Travis Head catch in the semifinals, which possibly just wins by an inch just because of the magnitude of the match. It was the semifinals. Santner ne catch liya. I'm not able to remember the match, but he took a fantastic catch in the 30-yard circle.
I'm
not able to remember the match, kaun sa match tha, but he did take one. And then Shami, जिन्होंने सारे टीमों का शामी कबाब बनाया था इस टूर्नामेंट में, बारिंग द लास्ट वन. आई मीन सारा इंडिया होप कर रहा होगा कि लास्ट मैच में बनाए, लेकिन ओवरऑल ही हैड अ फैंटास्टिक वर्ल्ड कप. Zampa, best leg spinner possibly the tournament. And then the fast, aggressive Gerald Coetzee. So that kind of summed up my playing 11. Honorable mentions: Bumrah. I will possibly pick Bumrah any day. Like that's where he fits in right now. David Warner, a fantastic way to to complete his, I think, ODI career, and Quinton de Kock as well. I think these two had a fantastic tournament, and the way they finished their career. I think Quinton de Kock would have wanted to be in the finals though, but fantastic tournament for both these guys. So,
and you have to pick one more actually because
oh yeah,
15 का था,
yeah.
मैंने
So I
14 ही
will.
डाला है. Who could have been the 15th player?
I will either pick, just going by the conditions. I think I wouldn't mind picking Hazelwood, but since the World Cup was in India, I will pick Kuldeep Yadav,
Okay.
left arm mystery spinner. Keshav Maharaj had an amazing World Cup.
It's
Amazing
very
World Cup. I
difficult.
think possibly the spinner. Lekin, since you have Mitchell Santner, you have Glenn Maxwell as the offies, right? Travis Head bhi bowl kar sakte hain. So you want that little bit of variety, so I'll just pick Kuldeep Yadav as a mystery
Kuldeep
spinner.
Yadav with the 15. I know. Amazing team. Imagine our teams meeting like this and doing this, That would have been a
Yeah.
killer one. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, contenders, ye pura dekh ke, this would be your top 20, 25 players in the entire tournament. And as expected, it's those top 4 teams who qualified.
Top 14,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Semi-final
odd
heavy.
ones. I mean, yeah, odd ones have been a little bit,
Madhushanka.
Madhushanka, and then maybe Asmatullah Marzai, Shaheen Shafridi, who's done really well for the bowling. We'll end it here. I wanted to ask you, I mean, we talked about the player of the tournament. Which team were you most surprised with? And which team disappointed you the most?
Okay, surprised. See, I was surprised and disappointed by England. Huh? Can that happen? Yeah, I mean, you can. I was surprised. I was surprised by the way the England played, and I was
That's
disappointed
true.
that they didn't come in the final four. So I think, okay, let's talk about a very good surprise here. I think I was surprised by the way the Afghanistan team
Very
came
true.
about. That's another story, right? We spoke about Shami, we spoke about Rachin Ravindra, we spoke about Virat Kohli. Afghanistan also would have a page, and uh, you know
Very true.
कि उनका परफॉर्मेंस जैसा रहा वर्ल्ड कप में, they were in the contention,
Until the
91 for
final 2
7.
games. Until 91 for 7, they were in
just
contention
just
for semi-final.
just two instances which they would rue, the loss against Bangladesh, 91 for 7.
And
Just
they missed
imagine,
that Maxwell catch in that.
Maxwell catch. Yeah. So I think it would have been India versus shayad Afghanistan hota shayad semi-finals. You can just imagine Afghanistan being in semi-finals, and you don't have the likes of New Zealand, Pakistan, as one of the favorites that we, spoke about, they not being in the final four.
Very true.
They very well could have been in the final four. So I think that's a good surprise that of the World Cup. Disappointment has been England through and through. Started with England, started with New Zealand, then it's continued with South Africa. I don't know who they played the second match with.
Bangladesh, they won that, and laga ki shayad that was a
right, and they're back.
Yeah, there was not. And then I lost Afghanistan. That was a disaster.
Oh, that's it. I think that kind of sealed it. You knew it's not the England that we know of, and it just didn't. They didn't arrive. They didn't arrive at the World Cup. I still believe somewhere, if we just restart the World Cup, I possibly will say again that England is one of the favorites, and they might come to the semi-finals. But I don't know, for some reason they didn't arrive. This is one of the most, 99 World Cup Sri Lanka ki team wasn't that great. No, I know there was a slide from 96 to 90. But this England team is still good. I still believe it's a good team.
Yeah, but it wasn't this bad. You never thought 99 World Cup. And I'll end it with this, right? So this is my take. So I let me finish my part, and then I will explain about this particular logic. So for me, the surprise, as you said, Afghanistan, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about Netherlands. What a story they had. For me, this World Cup has proved that 10-team World Cup is now a history. I think they should expand the World Cup to more teams. I would like to see Netherlands again in World Cup. I would like to see Scotland in this World Cup. I would like to see Ireland in this World Cup. And you know, you have to open up the opportunities for them. Agar aap opportunities nahi donge, to how are they gonna, you know, expand, and how is cricket gonna grow
Absolutely.
the sport? So Netherlands winning was a vindication that, you know, given them a choice, they will win. And Netherlands, South Africa, I think one of the moments of the World Cup in terms of, you know, how it has panned out. I think they will remember for the rest of their lives. Go ahead.
And Netherlands now has done it twice versus South Africa.
It's done
The
it
last two,
twice
you know, World Cup.
in two different
T20 में और
formats.
T50 over. Yeah.
In two different formats. So Netherlands was a surprise package. Afghanistan is I predicted this. For me, Afghanistan would do well, and हमने वही बोला था कि pre World Cup preview में, and they did not disappoint there. So Afghanistan is absolutely on the right track. I really want Afghanistan to go further ahead. I see Afghanistan better than Bangladesh in terms of how they have evolved.
I think they are.
They have, and I think Netherlands has evolved better than Bangladesh. For me, two biggest disappointments have been England. Where do I start with England? I mean, they were the World Cup favorites. They were the favorites.
Yeah.
I still, and I agree with you. I still will put them as favorites to win the World Cup if they do it all over again. They didn't play enough games. I don't know what to say. For me, this will be the mystery of World Cup history. How did this England team perform so badly? Because 99 Sri Lanka was not expected to do well because they already had lost Ranatunga. They already lost Arvinda De Silva. They lost Guru Sinha. And Kaluvitana was no longer that Kaluvitana we had. And then they had Mahanama. It was a very team which was set up perfectly for 96, and they lost all of them by 99.
Yeah.
So when you know you lost your captain and your vice captain, you knew that, you know, it's not the same team. Here, I did not feel. I know it was not the same team. I know Ben Stokes is no longer the same player. Injuries were not there from Archer, and you know not the same bowling. I still felt the batting was too good enough that they would not end up at 8th.
Absolutely correct.
And I'm also yeah. So England was the biggest disappointment for me. I'm also actually very disappointed with Bangladesh. I mean, their home conditions. This is okay, not home conditions, but subcontinent conditions. You know this. You know this kind of wickets. You know this kind of atmosphere. You should have done better. And it didn't help the whole Tamim Iqbal controversy at the start of the tournament. And you just did not arrive at the World Cup. Sri Lanka itself had its own moments of their own shockers. I mean, their team now getting banned. You were a subcontinent team. You should have done well. I think all these three, they should really look at themselves and understand what they need to do for the next time. Because for me now, right now, I would put Netherlands better position than Bangladesh. I mean, if Bangladesh can get a test status in 2000, you know, thoda khel ke, please give a test status to Netherlands. So, I mean, I'll end it there. Those were my moments. I mean, the most memorable moments, most memorable teams. But yeah, I think I'll always remember the Glenn Maxwell's double century. I'll always remember the 47 for 3 and Travis Head, you know, taking it over from there and ensuring India doesn't win. And I'll always remember Rachin Ravindra coming of age right from the game 1. Yeah. Setting the tone for the World Cup there. Great story. Yeah, overall a good World Cup. Would I term it as the best World Cup ever? Probably not. But I think it was definitely better than 2011 World Cup. Maybe I would say in terms of, you know, the quality of cricket, in terms of, you know, this thing. It's a different format though. We can talk about the format and the way whether this was best organized in the next video, but we'll leave it there. Video, yeah. That's all, I think, right? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, that's all.
Perfect.
Okay. I think बहुत ज़्यादा discuss कर लिया. I think we can talk about whether it was the best World Cup as claimed by BCCI and Jay Shah and the BCCI.
We'll talk about that in the next video. We'll talk about the next video.
But I think we kind of covered almost everything. as far as
Yeah, we did.
cricketing performances are concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's a wrap for us. I know lamba video bana hai, but covering 45 matches, 6 weeks of tournament in one video in a review point of view, it takes time. So
Next
I'm
time,
happy
true.
with yeah, I mean we gave justice to the video in that aspect. Try to cover everything as much as we can. So thank you for watching. Please like that video. Please like and subscribe. Please share with your friends and family. And give us your comment. What do you think of? What did you think of the best moments, the best performance, or the best team of the tournament or the player of the tournament according to you? Put that in your comment section below. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.